Welcome back to Talk of the Town. We are joined now by our news partner from the Medicine Shop of Monona. We are chatting with Eric Hewitt, also the owner. Glad to see you.
Glad to be back. Thank you.
So thanks for joining us today. We got a lot to talk about. We've talked about a lot of different topics with you that have been really interesting information. This is one you might not know about yet at home. But first of all, the Medicine Shop is really a full-service pharmacy. So let's talk about some of the services that you do provide outside of what you might think of, the typical filling of prescriptions.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people think that pharmacy, I'm either not feeling well or I have to pick up my usual prescription. I just go in there, get it filled, and head out. Well, unfortunately, or fortunately for us, not all patients, are that simple and so uncomplicated. So what we have is we have a couple of different things. We have a couple of different med box setups that we'll go through, both a CompuMed and a regular med box. We do blister packing for assisted living facilities.
Let's see some of the packaging that you're talking about.
Absolutely. So here's the CompuMed machine, and this one's a little bit more advanced.
Okay.
This actually locks in a med box.
Okay, can you see this at home? This is pretty cool.
Yeah, so, and then when it's time, the pill's dispensed out of this tray right here, and then it gets put back, and it waits to dispense to the next time it's ready to dispense.
Oh, that's so convenient.
Yeah, so a little bit more advanced. This one is kind of more of your basic med box, so you can fill it up to 4 times a day. And we set up those pills for patients. Again, these things help.
Oh, I see. So this is actually one day, so
Correct.
Sunday, so you can have your 4 dosings then all set for you.
Yep, it allows people to stay a little bit more independent.
Yeah.
And stay in their homes and have somebody professionally manage their
Or if you've got a
medications.
caretaker, maybe sets it up for you in advance, and then you can just kind of drag and drop, you know where to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So we have those services, and then finally, for our assisted living patients at assisted living homes, they have to be specially packaged per state regulations. And so we package those. And so on these, you can see the numbers that would correspond for the date. So, today they'd punch out the number 2 and give that and mark that down. So we kind of run the gamut of, the packaging options that are out there for patients to make sure that they either are staying independent in their homes or meeting state regulations.
Right. Yeah, I didn't know about this one. So this is actually something that you sort of have to do specialty. So this is telling you, I imagine, the dates of the month.
Exactly.
So there's a specific sort of rule for each pill. Maybe that's in case the dosing is changing, maybe not, but.
Yep, and it's also for documentation purposes. So they punch it out, they can see, yes, that medication was given, because at that point it's the home's responsibility or the assisted living facility's responsibility to do that. So this allows them to have documentation that that medication was given.
Okay, really interesting. I didn't know about any of those things. Okay, let's talk a little bit about insurance. Oh, we love talking about insurance, right?
Yes.
It's always such a muddy waters to sort of tread through, but is there coverage when it comes to this kind of stuff?
Unfortunately, usually not.
Okay.
With the assisted livings that we talked about in the blister packing, it's a requirement by the state, but a lot of times the state will not, or your insurance will not pay for it, I should say.
I see.
So it's something, unfortunately, that, is an added cost of living in one of those facilities. Also, the setup of the actual box is not usually covered. There are very rare instances, and you can always check with us to see if your loved one or yourself meets those circumstances, but most times, unfortunately, it is not covered, and it's something that it would be an additional cost to the patient.
Okay, but as you can see, also a huge additional convenience, and when you're talking about your health and medications, really important to get it right. So.
And I mean, what we see honestly most often is that it's just a huge burden off of caregivers. So if it was your mom or dad or an aunt or uncle that you're taking care of, just to take that off your plate is a huge thing for them too. And then again, to have it professionally managed by somebody that knows medications and can avoid, taking certain medications together and at the appropriate times is also really important for those patients.
Absolutely. So they can just come in and chat with you about any of these things if you like one of these options?
Absolutely. Yep. I mean, that's really all it takes is to start a conversation with us and say, is this something that would be available for my loved one? And we can just go from there and start setting it up for them.
Yeah, and the medications and what would be the best way to implement the taking of those.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Some good options. This is Eric Hewitt, owner of Medicine Shop Pharmacy in Monona on Monona Drive. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks again.
I want to thank all of our guests for joining us today, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Talk of the Town.